Take 3. Okay, so I've gotten around to what I want to say, but I took too long in saying it, and I do not want to do another clip, so I'm going to try to do everything in this last 8 or 9 minutes. The 2 things. Okay. Yeah, the first thing is that classical and jazz music, no matter how long you study them, you can never hit the bottom. It will always be more to study. But, so for example, if I get really good at playing Bach, and all of a sudden I decide I want to play Brahms piano work, because I've got a lot of work ahead of me, because Bach's keyboard works, it wasn't even a piano when Bach wrote those works. Bach's keyboard works are really easy, other than his organ works, compared to Brahms piano works, which are like next to impossible. So it'll be a whole lot of work ahead of me to get from playing a 3-part invention to playing, Brahms Piano Sonata number 1 or whatever. Huge, huge difference. Same goes with jazz. You can explore. There's always more to learn, and no matter what anybody tells you in jazz, everybody in jazz, no matter how well recorded, whether they're a Miles Davis side man and stuff, I mean, they've skimped somewhere. There's something that they don't know much about. Even Keith Jarrett and even a lot of people, there's somewhere they've skimped on their education because there's just too much for one person to learn. I mean, although I must say, you have to be impressed with the Standards Trio. I mean, it's like, I'm trying to ramble too much because I'm trying to fit this in 9 minutes. So anyway, but the thing I think about rock and roll that really makes rock and roll such great music is, first of all, as good as someone who plays rock and roll. I mean, just if you're somebody who never really got an interest in jazz or classical, it's good to say to yourself, okay, I'm going to make it my business to know how to play music and not to just tune into drop D and do this. Right? Well, you can't see my hands. And to just play power chords is one thing. Please, I want you to know that there's a lot more music than that. But at the same time, and I think at some point you have to say to yourself, well, I need to get an education. I mean, just in whatever you are doing, it's good to be educated. At the same time, the whole point of being educated is that you can, in art at least, is that you're going to communicate to people, you're going to touch their emotions. And another thing is, rock and roll is dance music. And it still is. I mean, you can dance to TV on the radio. You might have to dance like you're high, but you can dance. You can dance to Built to Spill. People do. You go to their concerts and people are, shaking their hips and stuff. That's what, jazz and classical music at some point, for the most part, not for the most part, 95% of jazz and classical music you cannot dance to. And, if you suggested to a highly trained classical composer that he composed dance music, he'd probably try to kick your ass. And that says a lot about classical music and the state of classical music today. I know I've been absolutely scathing in my reviews there, but I don't think I've been scathing enough. I love classical music as something that I can approach on my own terms, but I do not believe that it's the best form of music. I don't believe that it's any more superior than really the Clash. I mean, I think people, sure it's a lot. Sure it's more complex and stuff, but that doesn't mean anything because it's not much fun. A lot of it isn't. And people in classical music complain all the time about how nobody has any culture, and it's just a bunch of bullshit. Because if you look at a school like Juilliard, I'm just gonna get this right over with. We're gonna have to do another clip, so just wait for me another 9 minutes. But schools like Juilliard are geared to, get young people, turn them into soloists, and then disregard them. turn them into virtuoso soloists and then disregard them. That's what. That's what. And there's a Juilliard in every nation in the world, and they do the exact same thing to every nation. They do the exact same thing, and it's really terrible. I mean, you really don't, and it's like, I think, but I mean, I really think that is really like where rock and roll is still such an amazing form of music, because for whatever reason, rock and roll never got locked into the cerebrum. It's still a dance music. Sometimes it's hopelessly simplistic, and that's, like I said, there's more to music than playing power chords. But at the same time, like, if you write a good song in power chords, it touches people emotionally and people have fun listening to it, then it's a good song. And it doesn't matter if maybe you should have studied a little bit more. It's a good song. And that's what people in classical music and jazz don't realize. I think, like, I really, like the punk ethic, which is just that if it works, do it. If it's fun, do it. If it moves the crowd, do it. There's nothing wrong with that. And that is exactly the opposite of what they will teach you in music school, which is that if it's not intellectual, if it's not complex, if it's not fantastically deep and heady, it's no good. That's what they'll teach you. And then of course they're gonna berate you for not putting enough emotion into your music. Well, I hate to tell you that, like, I don't know how to explain it. I mean, it's just a real racket. The music industry, it doesn't matter what part of the music industry you're in, it's cutthroat. If it's jazz, it's cutthroat. If it's classical, it's cutthroat. If it's rock and roll, it's cutthroat. So, I mean, people have illusions about the music industry. Trust me, like, I know, okay, for example, I was on MySpace. I met this guy on a music chat room. He was talking about classical music. He wanted some recommendations for recordings and stuff. And I mean, he didn't know anything about classical music hardly. And he was trying to kind of expand his thing, and that's just it's like a wet dream for me to have somebody ask me that kind of stuff. Because I love music education. I love it. I'm good at it. I understand how to get people interested. So I gave him some recommendations, which are probably like the most bizarre recommendations to some people. I mean, why didn't you start with Beethoven's Ninth Symphony? Because I think Beethoven's Ninth Symphony is kind of like a bombastic, like, although I must admit, the third movement, that Spirited really is amazing. But anyway, so he was in a rock band. It was a very good rock band, and it was the kind of rock band you want to see when you go to a bar. It was very fun and danceable, and the lyrics were funny, and I mean, very, very comedic lyrics. Just a hell of a good band. And he was in LA, which is like, okay, this is a center of music, and they were going to sign him, but he was the lead singer, the principal writer, and the lead guitarist, and they were going to sign the other three guys in the band and not him. Guess why? Because he has creative control of the band, and they can just pluck him out. And who isn't, I mean, I don't know what happened, but he was floored, and his guys were thinking about signing without him because it was so much money. That's cutthroat. I only got 15 seconds left, but I mean, that's the kind of stuff that happens in the music industry. I've been bashing the way they run classical music, but rock and roll is no different, and I can tell you a lot of bad things about jazz. So